Good afternoon and welcome to the 2020 Virtual Folk Art and Community Makers Festival. This festival is presented by the Folk Art Alliance at the Walk-In Art Center in Schuylkill Haven. A big thank you goes out to Jenna Winton for organizing this. I'm Dave Matsinko. I'm glad to be here today from my studio basement. And I'll be presenting a program of traditional folk and American heritage music. So, enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. And here we go. And I'm getting old and feeble, and I cannot work no more. Laid my rusty mining tools away. For 40 years and over, I've toiled about the mines. Now I'm getting feeble, old and gray. And I started in the breaker, went back to it again. Now my work is finished for all time. The only place that's left me is the almshouse for a home, where I'm gonna spend the weary head of mine. Where are the boys that worked with me in the breakers long ago? Many of them now have gone to rest. Their cares of life are over, and they've left this world of woe, and their spirits now are roaming with the best. At 8 years of age, to the breaker I first went, to learn the occupation of a slave. And I certainly was delighted, and on picking the slate was bent. My ambition, it was noble, strong, and brave. In the chutes I graduated instead of going to school. Remember, friends, my parents, they were poor. When a boy left the cradle, it was always made the rule. Try and keep starvation from the door. Where are the boys that worked with me in the breakers long ago? Many of them now have gone to rest. Cares of life are over, and they've left this world of woe, and their spirits now are roaming with the best. And I next became a driver and thought myself a man. Boss, he raised my pay as I advanced, going through the gangway with the mules in my command, and I was prouder than the president of France. Now my pride is weakened, and I am weakened too. And I tremble till I'm scarcely fit to stand. If I were taught book learning instead of driving teams, hey, kind friends, I'd be a richer man. Where are the boys that worked with me in the breakers long ago? Many of them now have gone to rest. Cares of life are over, and they've left this world of woe, and their spirits now are roaming with the best. Their spirits now are roaming with the best. Their spirits now are roaming with the best. All right, this is kind of different, but here we are, and that song is called The Old Miner's Refrain, and it is based on the tune Little Old Log Cabin in the Lane, which was a popular tune that was written by Will S. Hayes in 1871 for the minstrel trade. And that song told the whole story about a miner starting as a breaker boy at age of 8 and working his way for 40 years all the way through and coming back and being broken down and worn out and not able to do his job as a miner anymore, and he found himself right next to the breaker boy. To do another song. American Folk Song is written by Stephen Foster, and it was first published in 1860, and it's called The Glendy Burke, and it tells the story of a paddle steamer coming down the Mississippi River Basin, and the boat Glendy Burke was named after the 29th mayor of New Orleans. The Glendy Burke is a mighty fast boat with a mighty fine captain too. He sits up there on the hurricane deck, he keeps his eye on the crew. Well, I can't stay here 'cause the work's too hard, have to leave this town. I'll take my duds and tote 'em on my back when the Glendy Burke comes down. When it's ho for Louisiana, I'm bound to leave this town. I'll take my duds and tote 'em on my back when the Glendy Burke comes down. Oh, the Glendy Burke has a funny old crew, and they sing this boatman song. They burn the pitch and the pine knot too, for they shore the boat along. Well, the smoke goes up and the engine roars, wheels go round and round. And it's fare thee well, I'll take a little ride when the Glendy Burke comes down. And it's ho for Louisiana, I'm bound to leave this town. I'll take my duds and tote 'em on my back when the Glendy Burke comes down. Well, I work all night in the wind and storm, work all day in the rain, till I find myself on the levee dock in New Orleans again. Well, they make me mow in the hayfield there, tote the bucket and pail. I'll go back to work in the sugar and the cane, where they roll the cotton bale. And it's ho for Louisiana, I'm bound to leave this town. I'll take my duds and tote 'em on my back when the Glendy Burke comes down. And it's ho for Louisiana, I'm bound to leave this town. I'll take my duds and tote 'em on my back when the Glendy Burke comes down. All right, Glendy Burke, one of my favorite Stephen Foster songs. There'll be some more Stephen Foster tunes of Pennsylvania Native coming up soon. Next song, from the mid-1800s, talks about, when we're talking about railroading and coal mines and canals, most of the labor force we had was Irish. And because of the potato famine, a lot of the workers and the folks over in Ireland wanted to come across to this country and have a better life. This is a song called Paddy Works on the Railroad. It tells about his story. In 1841, me corduroy breeches I put on, corduroy breeches I put on to work upon the railway. Fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey to work upon the railway. In 1842, I did not know what I should do. I did not know what I should do to work upon the railway. Fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey to work upon the railway. In 1843, I sailed away across the sea, sailed away across the sea to work upon the railway. Fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey to work upon the railway. In 1844, I landed on Columbia shore, landed on Columbia shore to work upon the railway. Fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey to work upon the railway. In 1845, I found myself more dead than alive, found myself more dead than alive while working on the railway. Fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey while working on the railway. In 1846, I changed my trade to carrying bricks, changed my trade to carrying bricks from working on the railway. Fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' my hoo-rah-hee-rah-hey, fillin' Mahu-rahi-rahi, from working on the railway. In 1847, poor Paddy was thinking of going to heaven. Poor Paddy was thinking of going to heaven after working on the railway. Paddy works on the railway. My grandfather worked on the railway. And gosh, when you're talking about railroad songs and railroad folklore, the subject of hobos just seems to come along. And hobos were folks that traveled, itinerants, and traveled where there was work. And I'd like to put two songs together, and the first is called The Dying Hobo, and the second is a song by Elizabeth Cotten called Freight Train. On an eastbound freight train, one cold December day, beneath that eastbound boxcar, dying hobo lay. His comrade stood beside him, and his hat was in his hand, for he knew that his old buddy was a-going to a distant land. Go tell my gal in Frisco, no longer will I roam. I've caught that eastbound freight train on my way back home. Freight train, now run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route I'm gone. When I'm dead and in my grave, no more good times here I'll crave. Place the stones in my head and feet and tell 'em I'm gone to sleep. When I die, oh, bury me deep down at the end of Old Chestnut Street, so I can hear old number 9 as she comes rolling by. Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, now run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route I'm going. Well, I'm going to a better land where you don't have to change your socks, where the beer and the foam comes a-trickling out of the rocks. Dying hobo closed his eyes as he drew his last breath. His comrade stole his coat and his hat and kept on heading west. On an eastbound freight train, one cold December day, beneath an eastbound boxcar, oh, that dying hobo lay. Dying Hobo and Freight Train. Thanks for watching. I hope this is coming out good. This is my first venture into this, so this is exciting, and I'm happy to be here, and thank you, the folks at the Folk Arts Center and Folk Arts Alliance and whatever else. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this. American heritage music, I think back of songs about John Henry. When I was first playing the banjo, and even back in school, we learned about the ballad and the story of John Henry. This next song freezes the events that took place at the Big Bend Railroad Tunnel in Summers County, West Virginia, about 1870 to 1872. It freezes those events when he actually goes up against the steam drill. And the song was first recorded by Uncle Dave Macon back in 1927. Well, people out west heard of John Henry's death, couldn't hardly stay in bed. Monday morning on that eastbound train, I'm going where John Henry, he fell dead. I'm going where John Henry, he fell dead. John Henry told his shaker, now shaker, you better pray, for if I miss this little piece of steel, tomorrow will be burying day. Tomorrow gonna be burying day. John Henry hammered down the right side, and the steam drill was on the left. Before I let that old steam drill beat me down, I'll hammer my fool self to death. I'll hammer my fool self to death. John Henry, he told his captain, I am a Tennessee man. Before I let go that steam drill beat me down, I'll die with the hammer in my hand. Oh, I'll die with that hammer in my hand. John Henry, he hammered in the mountain till his hammer it caught on fire. The very last words I heard him say, cool drink of water before I die. Cool drink of that water till I die. They carried John Henry to the graveyard. They looked at him good and long. Very last words that his wife said to him, my husband, he is dead and gone. My husband, now he is dead and gone. Death of John Henry. All right, that concludes my first little set of guitar songs. I'd like to get my banjo out and play a few songs in old-time banjo and clawhammer style. And again, if you're watching this, make sure that you tune into some more of the events that are happening right now virtually. So check it all out. Nothing as good as water. This song is called The Sinking of the Reuben James, and it was written by Woody Guthrie. And it talks about the first U.S. warship that was sunk in World War II after a German submarine attack. Ship was escorting an Allied convoy, and the USA was still not at war with Germany. But this event, where many, many sailors lost their life, probably was something that contributed to our declaring war on Germany. So it was written by Woody Guthrie. Stars and stripes of the land of the free. Tonight she's in her grave at the bottom of the sea. Tell me what were their names, tell me what were their names. Did you have a friend called the good Reuben James? What were their names, tell me what were their names. Did you have a friend on the good Reuben James? And a rock and a great explosion roar laid the Reuben James on that cold ocean floor. Tell me what were their names, tell me what were their names. Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? What were their names, tell me what were their names. Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? Went down, only 44 were saved. 'Twas the last day of October, we saved the 44 from the dark ocean waters of that cold Iceland shore. Tell me what were their names, tell me what were their names. Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? What were their names, tell me what were their names. Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? Now are still and are calm. Many years have passed, but still I wonder why the worst of men must fight and the best of men must die. Tell me what were their names, tell me what were their names. Did you have a friend on the good Reuben James? What were their names, tell me what were their names. Did you have a friend on the good Reuben James? Sinking of the Reuben James by Woody Guthrie. I could tell a lot of jokes about tuning a banjo, but it's about 60 degrees in here, so it does affect acoustic instruments a bit. Next song was written by Henry Clay Work in 1876, and it's one of those songs, one of those banjo songs that you want to learn right away. It's called My Grandfather's Clock. My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, oh, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than the old man himself, though it weighed not a pennyweight more. It was bought on the day that he was born. It was always his treasure and pride, but it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, life's seconds numbering. It stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. In watching its pendulum swing to and fro, many hours he had spent while a boy. And in childhood and manhood the clock seemed to know, and to share both his grief and his joy. It struck 24 when he entered the door, with his blooming and beautiful bride. But it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, life's seconds numbering. It stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. My grandfather said that of those he could hire, not a servant so faithful he found, for it wasted no time and had but one desire, at the close of each week to be wound. And it kept in its place, not a frown upon its face, and its hands never hung by its side. But it stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, life's seconds numbering. It stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, it's life's seconds numbering. It stopped short, never to go again when the old man died. My grandfather's clock, one of my favorite banjo tunes. Play a couple songs next that kind of deal with the canal trade. First is called Dance Boatman Dance. It was a song that was, I'm sure, played on the canal boats that came through Northeast PA. Dance, Boatman, dance. you would like more information on the style of music I do, which is traditional folk, American heritage music, you can tune in. Check out my website, which is www.dmatsinko@yahoo.com. Actually, I just gave you part of my email. My email is dmatsinko@yahoo.com. You think I would know this? I have it for so many years. Website is www.dmatsinko.com. That is it. I'd like to do a song that came from the minstrel trade, and it first became popular in 1844 as was known as Lovely Fan, and it was a song performed in Buffalo, New York by Woody Guthrie, and it just happened to talk about not so much it's called Buffalo Gals, and it just deals with, in this case, Buffalo, New York, where the canal boats would come in, and I won't talk much more about that. Down the street, pretty maid I chanced to meet, she looked fair to me. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, dance by the light of the moon. I asked her if we'd have some talk, have some talk, have some talk. Well, her feet covered up the whole sidewalk as she stood next to me. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, dance by the light of the moon. Ask her if we'd have a dance, have a dance, have a dance. Thought that I might get a chance, shake a foot with her. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, come out tonight, won't you come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, dance by the light of the moon. I'd like to make that gal my wife, gal my wife, gal my wife, and I'd be happy all my life if I had her by me. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, won't you come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, dance by the light of the moon. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight, dance by the light of the moon. Buffalo gals. Thank you everyone out there for watching. This is exciting. Time to switch instruments again. And I'll do a couple songs written by Merle Travis. And first one is called Dark as a Dungeon, wrote it in 1946. And my grandfather was a coal miner in Nesquehoning, where I grew up, and he immigrated to this country in 1903. And I would ask my dad, what was it like in the mines? Tell me about it. And grandfather worked for 50 years, and my dad would say it was just awful. It would be wet, 51, 52 degrees. It would be dark. He would go to work sometimes in the dark in the early morning, and he would come back sometimes in the dark of night. And it was not a good time. And when I heard this song by Merle Travis, I thought, wow, that really describes it. listen, you fellers, so young and so fine. Seek not your fortune, that dark dreary mine. It'll form like a habit and seep in your soul, till the stream of your blood is as black as the coal, and it's dark as the dungeon, damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls and the sun never shines. Oh, it's dark as the dungeon down in that mine. So many a man I've seen in my day who lived just to labor his whole life away, like a fiend with his dope or a drunkard in his wine. Man must have lust and the lure of the mind, and it's dark as the dungeon, damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, and the rain never falls, the sun never shines. Oh, it's dark as the dungeon down in that mine. Midnight or the morning or the middle of the day, it's the same to that miner who labors away, where the demons of death often come by surprise. One fall of the slate and you're buried alive, and it's dark as the dungeon, damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, and the rain never falls and the sun never shines. Oh, it's dark as the dungeon down in that mine. And I hope when I'm gone and the ages do roll, my body will blacken and turn into coal, and I'll look from my door of my heavenly home and pity that miner who's digging my bone. And it's dark as the dungeon, damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls, the sun never shines. Oh, it's dark as the dungeon down in that mine. Dark as a Dungeon, Merle Travis. One of my favorite coal mining songs. A couple coal mining songs will be in this set. Including this one, which was a number one hit in 1955. And it was made popular by Tennessee Ernie Ford, and it was probably the most successfully composed industrial song, at least that time. I think you'll know what it is. Some people say a man is made out of mud. Poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood, skin and bones. A mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and a deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. Now my soul to the company store. Sun didn't shine. I picked up my shovel and I walked to the mine. Loaded 16 tons with number 9 coal, and the straw boss said, "Well, bless my soul, you loaded 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and a deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go, and I owe my soul to the company store." drizzling rain, for fighting and trouble. My middle name, I was raised in the canebrake by an old mama line. Ain't no high-toned woman gonna push me around. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go, and I owe my soul to the company store. If you see me coming, you better step aside. A lot of men didn't, and a lot of men died. There's one fist of iron and the other of steel. If the right one don't get you, then the left one will. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go, and I owe my soul to that company store. "16 Tons," Merle Travis, one of my favorite coal mining songs, as I hope you could tell. Holy smokes, time's flying. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit now. There's a John Prine song that I heard a few years back. It was written in 1971, and it was on his first album. And it was reminded me of the coal mining around, and strip mining around my Nesquehoning area. When I was a child, my family would travel down to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. There's a backwards old town, is often remembered, and so many times that my memories are worn. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled away. Well, sometimes we travel right down the Green River, the abandoned old prison down by Hadrey Hill, where the air smelled like snakes and we'd shoot with our pistols, but empty pop bottles were all we could kill. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? And I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled it away. Then the coal company came with the world's largest shovel, and they tortured the timber, and they stripped all the land. Well, they dug for their coal till the land was forsaken, and wrote it all down as the progress of man. Oh, Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? And I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled it away. When I die, let my ashes float down the Green River, let my soul roll on up to the Rochester Dam. I'll be halfway to heaven, with paradise waiting, just 5 miles away from wherever I am. Oh, Patty, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled it away. Paradise. John Prine. Wish I had time to do more songs by John Prine, but I don't think so. We need to move on. And I have my mountain dulcimers with me today, and I would like to play a few tunes for you on that. And I am going to say, as I said, my mountain dulcimers were Appalachian dulcimers. do an old tune called Black Mountain Rag on this. Black Mountain Rag, Appalachian Dulcimer. Did I mention earlier I'd play some more Stephen Foster tunes? So this is probably my favorite Stephen Foster song to play on the Mountain Dulcimer. And although it was written in 1854, it was very popular during the times of the Civil War. Actually popular on both sides. It's called Hard Times Come Again No More. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we all sup sorrow with the fool. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. Is the song the sigh of the weary? Hard times, come again no more. Many days you have lingered around our cabin door. Oh, hard times, come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music, light and day, there are frail forms fading at the door. Though their voices are silent, their pleading looks will say, oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times, come again no more. Many days you have lingered around our cabin door. Oh, hard times, come again no more. There's a pale drooping maiden who toils her life away with heart, better days are o'er. Though her voice would be merry to sing all the day, oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around our cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. Oh, hard times come again no more. Hard times come again no more. Again, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to this Facebook live event for the 2020 Folk Art and Community Makers Festival. I hope you're also going to be tuning in, and I hope before this you tuned into some of the other events that are happening. And again, Jenna Winton, excellent job putting all of this together. Time for one or two more songs. And I do have a couple songs put together. A week ago, I did a program in Lehighton in the cemetery with storyteller Kathy Long. It was called Songs and Stories in the Mausoleum. And she featured doctors in the Lehighton area. And it was my job to come up with some songs about illness, pandemics, and death even. And this song that I just started playing is called the 1919 Influenza Blues, and became popular in the early 1930s. And it just talked about the great influenza pandemic of 1918 to 1919, which came about after the years of World War I. And I'm just going to play it for you. 1919, men and women, they were dying from the disease that the doctor called the flu. People were dying everywhere, death was a-creeping all through the air, and the groans of the rich sure were sad. It was God's almighty plan, He was a-judging this old land, north and south, east and west, it can be seen. Yes, it killed the rich and poor, it's gonna kill just a little more if you don't turn away from your shame. Doctor said soon would be, in a few days, influenza would be controlled. Doctor sure man, he got had, sent the doctors all home to bed, and the nurses all broke out with the same. It was God's almighty plan, He was a-judging this old land, north and south, east and west, can be seen. Yes, it killed old rich and poor, it's gonna kill just a little more if you don't turn away from your shame. Influenza kind of disease makes you weak down in the knees, carries a fever everybody surely dreads, packs of pain in every bone. In a few days you're gonna be gone to that hole in the ground called your grave. It was God's almighty plan. He was the judge in this old land. North and south, east and west, it can be seen. Yes, it killed the rich and poor. It's gonna kill just a little more if you don't turn away from your shame. If you don't turn away now from your shame. Influenza blues for you. With that topic, there's a great singer. He was also actually known as, the father of country music, Jimmie Rodgers, born in 1897. I believe he died in 1934. The song was recorded in 1933. It's called the TB Blues, tuberculosis, and he was afflicted with tuberculosis, and this was his song to write about it. And he was known as the Blue Yodeler and the Singing Brakeman. So, Blue Yodeler, that could be a hint of maybe something to come. And it's at the end of this program, I better take a good slug of water here. TB Blues by Jimmie Rodgers. My good gal's trying to make a fool out of me. My good gal's trying to make a fool out of me. Trying to make me believe I ain't got that old TB. I've got the TB blue. When it rained down sorrow, rained down over me. When it rained down sorrow, rained all over me. 'Cause my body rattles like the train on that old SF. I've got the TB blue. I've got that old TB, I can't even bite. Got that old TB, I can't even bite. Got me worried so, can't even sleep at night. I've got the TB blue. I've been fighting like a lion, looks like I'm gonna lose. I've been fighting like a lion, looks like I'm gonna lose. 'Cause ain't nobody ever whipped that old TB. I've got the TB blue. Gee, but that graveyard is, oh, such a lonesome place. Gee, but that graveyard is, oh, a lonesome place. They put you on your back, throw mud down on your face. And I've got the TB TB Blues by Jimmie Rodgers. And my time is up. I'd like to stay with you a while longer, but thank you so much for having me perform traditional folk and American heritage music for you at the Folk Art and Community Makers Festival. And enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope to see you soon. Again, my website, www.dmatsinko.com. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.